What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Lauren, and this is going to be a hip and hamstring flow. My body's really craving some stretching for the hips and hamstrings, and so I think this will also be good for everyone because most of us tend to be tight in these areas and store a lot of stress there. So let's get started today in standing position. Bring the palms down to the side. Join me with taking a really audible and cleansing deep inhale and deep exhale. Take a moment and let's look down at our feet. You can lift and wiggle the toes. Take a second and make sure that our feet are hips width distance apart. Take another deep inhale, deep exhale. Lift those toes. And then imagine if your feet have four corners and you're anchored through them. Inhaling deeply again. Offer it out. And let's just check down at the knees. Take a look, make sure that we have a little micro bend in our knees. And then inhaling deeply again. Send it all out of the lungs and bring the awareness to the hips here. Keep that breath flowing as we check out the hips here. If your hips were a bowl of cereal, would you be spilling the milk out of any side? Plant-based milk, of course. So just check that the pelvis is centered directly over the knees. Awesome. Inhaling again, another deep inhale, sending it out strong. Coming up to the shoulders, breathe those shoulders all the way up to the ears. And then exhale and let them slide down the back. Beautiful. Coming now to the crown of the head. Deep inhale straightens the spine high to the sky. Deep exhale brings us into full body alignment here. Continuing this focus and intention with the breath, we'll inhale the arms up high. Use the exhale to float the arms back down by the side. Inhaling once more, we'll bring those arms up high and then clasp the hands at the top. Clasp the fingers around each other and you can leave the pointer finger out, pointing towards the sky. One more deep inhale. Exhale bends us over to the right side. Find a nice stretch in your left side body here and breathe into the places that are tight. Next inhale pulls us upright to center and the exhale brings us over to the other side. Breathe into the stretch. Keep that breath flowing. Nothing like a good side body stretch. Inhale it back to center here. Exhale, we can twirl the wrist as the palms come back down to the side body. Slightly press forward. Let those shoulders roll down the back. Beautiful. Keeping the feet hips width distance apart. We're going to inhale the arms up high once more. Exhale, the hands come down through center, arriving at prayer. Inhaling once more, we're going to hinge at the waist and come down into a very gentle forward fold. So just turning here so you guys can see my orientation. Hips, feet are still hips width distance apart. Come down to bent knees. Let that belly be right on top of your quads. Bring the fingertips to the ground and then slowly straighten those legs. We're going to do a lot of hips and hamstrings today, so no need to force it on the first one here. Let that head be heavy. Don't try to use your neck to hold your head up. Just let it hang. And let the weight of your head kind of gently pull those hamstrings open along the backs of the legs. Let the arms dingle. And then coming into ragdoll, you'll grab opposite elbows and add a little sway here. Keep that breath flowing. Inhale to sway one way, exhale to sway the other. And keep in mind we're being gentle here. Just a little sway, you got it. Couple more rounds of breath as we say hello and wake up these hamstrings. Beautiful. Drop both hands down towards the mat. Keeping those feet hips width distance apart. I want you to bend generously into your left knee and straighten that right leg. Plant the left fingertips or palm underneath the heart space, and then twist open to the right as the shoulder peels the body open to the right, and the right fingertips come high to the sky. Deep breaths here. See if you can create one long line from the right fingertips to the left. Your next exhale brings your right arm back to the mat. Now bending generously in the right knee, we straighten the left completely. Right fingertips under the heart space. Left shoulder peels open. Couple rounds of conscious breathing here. Keep that breath smooth and flowing. Next, exhale brings the left fingertips back down. Beautiful. Taking a stance towards the back of your mat if you're not there already. We'll meet once more in forward fold with the feet hips width distance apart. And then we're just going to gently walk the hands out, coming to a high plank. So hands walk out in front of you. Inhale deeply to build a strong plank. And then exhale, keep those elbows in as we bend and come down through low cobra. Inhale it up, shine that heart forward. And then exhale, we're gonna press back to a child's pose. Toes come to touch, knees at the outer edge. Great work here. Reconnect with the breath here. And remember that child's pose is a pose that can be taken at any time throughout the class. Should you find a pose that's just not working for your body today, you can always come here. Rising up now, we'll set up for all fours. We're just gonna make sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Great work. Let's do a couple rounds of cat-cow. As we inhale, the belly button goes towards the mat and the heart shines forward. Exhale, we round that spine up high to the sky. Inhale, shine the heart forward, gaze goes forward. Exhaling round. Keep moving with that breath, guys, at your own pace. Beautiful work. Next, rooting down firmly through the hands. Spread the fingers wide. Tuck those toes. Send those hips up, back, and high. Downward facing dog. Breathe it out here. You might pedal the feet to walk your dog. You may roll onto the outside edge of the left foot. Roll onto the outside edge of the right foot. Take a couple organic movements for yourself and then find stillness here. Checking the form, we press into the bottom knuckles of the hands. Make sure that those shoulders aren't hunched up by the ears. Broaden that collarbone. Gently press the chest back towards the quads. Beautiful. On your inhale, step to the top of your mat. Bring the other leg to meet and forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise to flat back. Exhale, we're gonna fold back down. Then inhale with a flat back. Reverse swan dive all the way up. Gaze follows the hands. Exhaling, hands at prayer. Samasthiti. Inhaling, the arms come back up high to the sky. The exhale allows us to dive with a flat back. Hands will plant, stepping back to the high plank. One extra inhale to grow strong. Exhale to lower down through chaturanga. Untuck the toes. Inhale that heart up and forward. Exhaling, pressing back through downward facing dog. Take 3 deep inhales, deep exhales here. Breathe it in, offer it back out. Next inhale brings us to step to the top of the mat once more. In finding an exhale and forward hanging fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift. Exhaling back down to the earth. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, we pray. Take a moment here before we move on to the next part of the class, a few silent moments to bring your intention. What are you needing or lacking today? You can dedicate this class to cultivating in your life. The next inhale brings the arms up high. Exhale, we dive and plant the hands. Stepping back to a high plank. Inhale, we grow strong in plank. Exhale, we slowly lower. Inhale to bring the chest up, baby cobra. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath here. Next inhale, the right leg comes up, back and high. Exhale, we step the right foot in between the hands. And now we're gonna come back down on that back left knee. Maybe use the ball of the foot to zhuzh the knee backwards, making sure we have 90 degrees here on the front right bent knee. Hands can stay here to frame the foot, or come on up, bringing the hands to the knee. We're looking for a nice stretch in the left hip flexor. Maybe the psoas, we'll get into that. So stay with the hands on the knee, or inhale to rise those arms up high. Stay with your breath here. Maybe adding a gentle back bend if you'd like. Next exhale brings the arms down to frame the front foot once more. And then we're gonna straighten into that right front leg, coming into half split. You may want to walk or wiggle that right front heel a little further. But the main thing is we just want that left hip to continue to stay on top of the left knee. So we're not back like this. Just keep that alignment there. Great, so right front leg goes straight. We're on the heel of the right foot. And then we just want to make sure that our back is flat as we fold over that right front leg, finding half split. Going a little deeper into the hamstrings this time. Keep that breath smooth and fluid. Don't forget that the breath is your guide for the practice. When the breath becomes choppy and challenged, we know that we've gone past our edge and we need to back out. We're gonna keep holding here for a couple more rounds of breath. A lot of people, blame the shoulders for holding stress. When we get stressed out, people tend to say like, oh, I hold stress in my shoulders. But once you really start working these hips and hamstrings, you really start to realize how much stress is held there. Beautiful. So we're going to gently come out of this pose by bringing the right heel back, bending into that right front knee, taking little movements if you need to. And so we're finding a bent knee, hands frame the right front foot. We're going to tuck that left back toe under and come off of the left knee. Plant the hands firmly. Step it back to down dog and take some cleansing breaths here. Fill the lungs completely and then audibly offer it back out. Your next inhale brings the left leg up back and high, and the exhale steps that left foot in between the hands. Gently walk those right toes backwards a little bit so we can come down on the right back knee, untuck the toes. Bring it into your low crescent here. Pressing the hips forward. We wake up these right hip flexors, maybe the psoas. Arms come to raise, can clasp if you like. Or maybe you bring the arms to 90 degrees, cactus, whatever you like. Find some stillness here as you breathe. Awesome. Your next exhale brings the hands to frame the foot once more, and then we're going to straighten into that left front knee. Maybe you need to wiggle that left heel forward a little bit, finding a straight left leg, and then hinging over that left leg. Beautiful. Find your hamstring stretch here. Breathe into it. So finding what your edge is in yoga is really important because we want to stretch the muscles, stress the fascia, but we don't want to go too far. So a general rule of thumb to help with this is start your stretch at about 70%. Then let the body gently open towards 100. This is going to be a much more effective way to really work on your flexibility over time. And it's going to keep you safe while you practice. When we pull something really hard, then we got to take several days off, and that's never fun. 2 more conscious breaths here, guys. Okay, bringing that left heel back, bending into the left knee. We'll frame the left foot with the hands. Come onto the ball of the right back foot, and then step it back. Downward facing dog. Deep inhale, deep exhale here. And then come on down to the knees at the outer edge of the mat. Sink the hips back to the toes. A couple rounds of breath in child's pose here. Beautiful. From child's pose, you can cross the ankles behind you, come to a seat. However you like, we're going to come to an easy seat position. You guys can stay where you are. I'm just moving to orient myself better to the camera here. So we find ourselves in easy seated position. I'm going to recommend that we start with the left foot in front first. Taking an inhale to make sure that spine has grown tall and straight towards the ceiling. Exhale and bend over, forward. Take a second and check that the right ankle, the foot is flexed, not pointed. Beautiful. Take a second and make sure the back is flat, not rounded. Suck in the low belly, pull in the pelvic floor. See if that gives you a little more range in your fold here. And then after all that, you can walk the hands forward and drop the head. If you're new to this stretch, we're looking for feeling it in the outside of the right hip, the back of the hip socket there. If your hips are a bit tight, you could also feel it in the left here, but the right is kind of mainly what we're going for. Couple more rounds of breath here. Okay, now slowly use the fingertips to press the body up high to the sky, and then switch the legs. So left foot is now in the front. The foot is flexed, the back is tall and proud. We suck in the low belly, Uddiyana Bandha, and then hinge forward. Use the breath as your guide and remember that 70% rule. Breathe into it. Let the sensation of the stretch anchor you into the present moment. Let's press the torso back up high to the sky. And now switching once more, we're going to return to having the right leg in front. So a couple options here. With the back flat and the right foot flex, you can hinge again, returning to that previous stretch. If you want to go a little bit deeper, walk the fingertips over to the left, and you'll feel a little bit more into the hip socket as well as maybe the quadratus lumbaris, so you might be engaging that low right back a little bit more as well. And so if none of this is doing it for you and you need an even deeper stretch, you can come into fire log pose. So you just want to make sure that both of your knees are bent at 90 degrees, and you're going to pick up that left heel and place it on, you're going to pick up your right heel and place it just on top of that left knee, kind of like the fatty part just under the knee, and then check and see. Now this is just an option. If you are comfortable in the first pose, just continue to stay there. But if you're taking fire log, just check to see that heels and knees are completely stacked on top of each other, 90 degrees in both knees. And you're going to want to make sure that both sits bones are equally rooted in the ground. It's okay if the knee is like up really high and you're just working in that pose, but if the right sits bone like lifts off the mat, then you're going to want to return to the previous pose. Whichever you choose, we're going to be here for about 3 more conscious breaths. Beautiful. Right leg can go long and then just kind of shake out that hip socket. And then we're switching again. We're coming back with either the left leg on front or the left leg on top, should you be looking for fire log pose. Find your perfect expression of the pose for today. And we'll sink in here. Using that breath, remembering that 70%, and then letting the body decide naturally to fall deeper into the pose. Check that spinal alignment. Make sure you're seated or folded with a straight spine. And then just use the focus on the pose as a meditation here. Be the witness as the body slowly sinks deeper into the pose without any judgment. Just getting to know yourself better. And don't forget the breath. All right, your next inhale, straighten that left leg out and you can wiggle the hip out a bit. Great work. Now we're going to move into Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet are going to come to touch in front of the groin area. And your heels can be as far away from the groin or as close to the groin as you want. And then you can kind of grab the feet like you're opening a book, just gently. Keeping that tall, flat spine, you can start to hinge over. And if you want to deepen the stretch here, sometimes you can use the forearms to kind of gently push the knees open. Send the breath and focus here. See if over time these next 10 or so conscious breaths can move the torso a bit closer towards the feet. Beautiful. Slowly and gently bring the spine back up high, and then we can straighten into both legs, coming into a straddle pose here. We're going to get a wonderful adductor stretch here, so the inside of the thighs, and we'll just gently melt the heart forward. Keeping a flex in both heels, keeping the back flat. Really lean into this. This is a pose that my edge moves quite a lot over time. So kind of see if you can just observe the body doing its own thing, gradually moving you deeper into the pose. Connect to the breath and the sensation of the pose. And we'll breathe it out here for about 10 rounds of breath. Gently now, slowly using the fingertips to walk the torso back up straight. The legs can come together, and we'll now come down onto the back. Gently hug both knees into the chest. Gently rock back and forth. You can draw big circles with the knees. Go back the other way to reverse the direction. Now extend both legs out long, and we're going to come up, bringing the palms of the hands flat to the mat underneath the top of our bum, and we're going to bend the elbows at 90 degrees to come into fish pose. So the elbows are bent, opening the heart, supporting the torso, and then let the head gently hang back as we open the heart and the throat chakras. Close the eyes and breathe here. We're getting closer to our Shavasana, our final resting pose. But if you know me and you've taken any of my classes, I love to include fish pose because it's the opposite of us having tech neck, hunching over our phones and our desks. So it's beautiful. Back in those shoulder blades together, back in the elbows together, and see if you can open the heart a little more here and breathe. Your next exhale brings you gently back down to the ground, and then the knees will come into the chest once more. Couple rocks here, and then let the feet come to the mat with the legs still bent. And then we're going to cross that right leg over the left, just like you're sitting cross-legged style. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the arms out wide, like across. Inhale deeply, and then exhale, just let the hips drop over to the left. So one more hip stretch as we chill out here in supine twist. So you might feel a stretch in the right hip. The secret is that the right shoulder stays down on the mat even though the right hip comes all the way off. That's what creates the twist. Gaze over to the right. Inhaling, we unwind out of that twist and bring those knees tight into the chest again. Little sway. Let the feet come to the mat once more, and then we cross that right knee over the left. Arms go wide, and then legs drop over to the right side. Gaze to the left. Bring the eyes to close if you like. Which side of your body is tighter? Using the next inhale, we gently unwind, coming back to center, pulling both knees in. Inhale deeply one more time. Exhale. Ooh, let's do a happy baby before we end. So bringing the knees, the feet up, the bottom of the feet high to the sky. The knees come back down towards the shoulders, towards the mat. Grab the outside. Just have to add a happy baby before we end. That's just wrong not to. A little sway here. You got it. Okay, stay there longer if you want. Otherwise, set up for your best Shavasana. Let the feet splay open naturally. Palms can be up about 45 degrees to the side. Broaden those shoulders across the mat. If you're like me and you have a lot of curvature in your lumbar spine, you can come to obstructive rest pose. So the feet can be on the outside edges of the mat and the knees kind of come together in a tent. Deep inhale. Let it out. Coming into our rest pose here. The head is heavy and sinks into the mat. The shoulders are broad and they sink into the mat as well. The back connects us to the earth. And as we exhale, we sink further down into the ground. Let the legs be heavy and effortless. Just let it all go. Check the body here. Release the eyebrows. Release the forehead. Release the jaw. Release the shoulders and smile with your heart. Drop it down. Let your meditation be the very sensations of your body. I invite you to stay here as long as you would like, enjoying this Shavasana for as long as you want. But if you're ready to move on with your day, staying curled up in the fetal position, just roll to one side. Keep those eyes closed. Use the shoulders and the arm as a pillow. With the eyes closed, we press up and emerge to a seated position. Hands come to the heart space in prayer. Thanks for sharing this practice with me today. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Namaste.